yesterday, and I think the two companies that emerged with the licenses, MTN Nigeria and Mafab Communications, I think it was about $273 million each is what they ended up paying. Mustapha, I wanted to get your thoughts. What do you make of again, for our YouTube viewers? Mustapha Alao is an analyst from ARM Securities. Well, of course, Business Express is brought to you by ARM Securities. Mustapha, what do you make of what we saw yesterday?
Well, I mean, what I would say is that it's a good step towards the right direction. With us having um, you know, being proactive, and make sure that we're very much in the early stages of 5G penetrating the global, the global space is very important. I mean, if we look at the Nigerian markets, Nigeria has one of the largest markets in the continent of Africa. So if we're going to be talking about African penetration and the infusion of 5G technology in the world, we're definitely looking at Nigeria as one of the places to look at. We're already seeing it being prominent in other nations across the world. Across the Scandinavian countries, I think they're already very much established. The United States, the UK, they're very much there. So I mean, with all seeing the same trend, with 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G technology, was, it just had to happen. We have a lot of businesses in this country, and if we look at the sort of benefits that 5G technology brings about, it's very important for us to infuse that here in Nigeria. Yes, we're still having some problems pertaining to the infrastructure that are already set in place, even for 4G technology. But with us advancing in terms of the globalization now, and us realizing the importance for us to have up-to-date technology, I think having these two companies, especially with MTN as part of the part of the duo that got that are getting the license, is very key, and it is very good for the Nigerian economy going forward. This might not really necessarily do much in terms of its contribution to the level of attraction that the country might have when we're talking about investors and so on, because that seems to be what's quite most important when you talk about what Nigeria needs at the moment. But it's definitely a step in the right direction, and yeah, it's definitely good for the economy.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, I mean, you're speaking very positively there, which is good. But is Nigeria? Would you say Nigeria is ready for 5G technology?
Well, I mean, yes. I mean, looking at the customer base, because if we're talking about the usage, because there are many angles you can come at it through. If you're talking about whether Nigeria, and because if you look at our industry, and if you look at our IT industry, the IT industry is significantly growing. We have a lot of companies within payment systems, and we also have a lot of companies that are arising in the virtual reality. We have companies that are rising in artificial intelligence, and if we are going to be a country that's going to be one of those that benefit from the direction that the world is moving towards, we need 5G technology. We're talking about things like mobile augmented reality shopping experiences that will revolutionize retail. We know that Nigeria has one of the largest customer bases in terms of retail. We're looking at things like helping businesses to work more quickly and more efficiently, which will in turn save costs and increase revenue. And we have many countries that are looking to 5G to offer better rural connection, better connection in rural communities, and that will allow more people to start businesses from homes, and open up opportunities. That will also help with levels of unemployment. I mean, if we know that a large part of Nigeria's economy is SMEs, So if we look at also quality of experience as well, that the current telco users would enjoy, that would significantly be improved with 5G technology. So I think with what we have in store, with the stakes that we have on ground, whereby we have businesses that could thrive on this, I think Nigeria is ready for that. But if we're talking about the infrastructure, I think that's where we might see a lag, just as we saw in 1G, 2G, 3G, and 4G technology. But in terms of how the country itself, in terms of the people who are going to utilize this service, yes, they're very much ready. I already talked about the IT industry, but in terms of the facilities and the infrastructure that will be put in place, that's something that we hope to see be better than how it has previously been.
Great stuff.
Okay.
Minister Pantami, Dr. Issa Pantami, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, he also spent a bit of time talking about insecurity and how you need more advanced technology to be able to quell that. I know that the governor of Kaduna State, El Rufai, he's talked about using drones and stuff like that in order to try to end banditry there. Is there a case to be made for tech when it comes to what 5G can do in that regard to reducing insecurity in the country?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you look at some of the features of 5G technology, we're talking about very high capacity. We're talking about faster response time. We're talking about more software options to upgrade. There's virtually zero latency. When we look at the marketing efforts in pushing 5G technology, there are 100 times more devices that are available to it. And just looking at the Internet of Things, deep coverage, being able to reach challenging locations. And if you look at the strategic locationing that we have, some of these insurgencies, or people who champion these insurgencies stay, we're talking about places like Sambisa Forest. We're talking about places that are, outside of the, outside of populations, typically where a lot of Nigerians will say, oh, you can't get service. So if we're talking about some of the features and some of the benefits that we get out of 5G technology, we're talking about deep coverage, and these are things that would, reach into challenging locations. Also, we're talking about, and even if we're going a bit more technical, we're talking about ultra low density. We're talking about 1 million nodes per square kilometer. Now, these are things that would help to reach into areas that the typical 4G technology and below will not be able to reach, and this will help to improve our security efforts and the technology that we employ in terms of trying to battle insurgency. So on that note, yes, I would say that definitely 5G has a lot of benefits to offer Nigeria from that perspective. However, like I said earlier, whilst the people are ready for it, whilst the industries that are set in place are ready for it, because we're living in a more globalized world now, what is important is that we're able to get the infrastructure to be able to facilitate 5G technology to thrive within our environment.
Mustapha, can I ask a question regarding MTN being one of the companies that won this 5G license? Would you say that their stock is going to be more appealing? I mean, considering the fact that they recently just did a public offer.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if we're looking at MTN, I mean, just to give a bit of a background, of recent, MTN is, getting a lot of traction. I mean, even from last year, especially considering the fact that, just a quick genesis here of MTN's story over the last 12 months. Us going into a lockdown, a lot of people at home, people seeing themselves having to work from home. So a lot of internet services are required from, if you're looking at it from that perspective. MTN, benefited greatly. We saw that revenue levels go up, looking at our financial results, and now MTN are coming up to put for sale, for retail investors, 575 million shares held by the group at the price of 169 naira per share. This has even drawn more eyes towards the stock. And even then, just the idea of placing it in a more public website whereby you don't necessarily have to go to your, investment firm, which a lot of retail investors might not be very versed with. Going onto the public offering websites and just being able to get yourself. This makes MTN more, for lack of a better word at the moment, accessible. So the public offer, coming as a fulfillment of the promise made, is 2 or 3 years ago when the telecoms group came on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. This is sort of like adding to the goodwill as well. And if you know anything about the Nigerian equity space, you know that a lot of it is not based on fundamentals, a lot of it is not based on technicals, a lot of it is not based on the relative the RSI and things like that. A lot of it is based on goodwill, it's based on buy and sell. And if I'm going to be looking at the trajectory of the MTN stock moving forward, especially with the moves that they've made recently, with them fulfilling their promise, then be more accessible to retail investors, and with the public offer, we can expect that we'll see this improve going forward. I mean, I was sometime last night I was checking some numbers and looking at Nigeria's numbers relative to South Africa and Ghana, and we see that the reason why MTN is not even reaching the potential levels that they could reach is because of the dual SIM culture that we have in the country. Now, if we have MTN being more progressive and a much more superior telecommunications or internet service provider with 5G technology, which they just were successful at the auction, we could see a lot of Nigerians ditching their alternative SIM and just sticking with MTN, and that would even make them more appealing to the public, and that is what is going to seep and feed into the attractiveness in the Nigerian stock exchange. So yes, because this could mean positive trajectory for the MTN stock on the exchange.
Rotus, we have a question from Dennis. Dennis is saying that he bought the MTN shares last week via his Access Bank app. He says Coronation Securities is the medium on the app through which I bought. I have a feeling I did something wrong because I didn't get a message to show there was a transaction. Do you have any help for Dennis?
Well, you have to go through, and that's why we talk about ARM and their stock trading app. And that's probably a good idea to download ARM stock trading app in order to make all these purchases. But if you made a purchase through a particular broker, you have to call your broker and ask them, questions about your purchase, your stock purchase. So it's best to contact them and say, hey, I made this purchase last week. I'm not seeing a record of it. Can you please assist me in doing that? And there's avenues and channels through which you can make those communications to your broker. I know I'm almost out of time, but Mustapha, the ARM stock trading app allows folks to make a purchase. Because today is the last day to take advantage of the MTN offer, so you can do that through the ARM app. Yeah.
Okay. Tokwa says
yes,
that
absolutely.
Okay. Tokwa says he experienced the same thing, but he eventually got a mail. So also that's hopeful. But yes, you can use your ARM app to get the stocks as well, like Rotus said. Thank you so much, Rotus. We have actually come to the end of Business Express. We have messages, and you can actually send your messages to Rotus online. Let's just keep the conversation going, so you can send your messages to us as well. It is at smooth981, and Rotus is at Rot and Quote. Mustapha, what's ARM's handle? That's ARM Engage, right?
ARM Engage. And if I may just add to that, in order to enjoy the MTN offer, what you could do is that you could send a mail to mtnoffer@armsecurities.com.ng, and they'll just sort that out for you. Remember, today is the last day. So
today is the last day, yes. So if you want to jump on that, you should jump on that. Thank you so much, Mustapha Alao, for joining us. And Rotus, thank you for joining us. Great analysts right there. To continue the conversation, do not forget to reach out to us on social media. It is at Smooth981. Rotus is at Rot and Quote. I'll be back at 7:30 for more talk. But before then, I have great music lined up for you, and I hope that you enjoy them all through your way to work or whatever thing you're doing right now. Fresh Press comes up at 7:30 a.m. Do not miss that segment. It is 98.1 FM. My name is Olakunmi.
With critical focus on the Nigerian economy, we see the bigger picture. Business Express on Smooth 90.